Hey guys! Today I want to take a second to walk you guys through the Capítulo 4a Notebooks. So the theme of this chapter is ¿A dónde vas? Where are you going? So you should all have a notebook packet. The cover page looks just like this. It says Capítulo 4a, ¿A dónde vas? And then it talks about the temas, the themes of this chapter. So in this chapter, you guys are going to learn to talk about places in the community, learn to talk about going different places, and in theory, we're going to do some reading and maybe watch some videos that are going to help you understand cultural perspectives on community a little bit better. So if you don't have one of these packets, there should be copies up front. I need you to have one of these in front of you as we work through it. So when you turn to the first page, after this cover, the first page should look something like this. You have 4 columns. The first one says Spanish. The second one says English. The third says pronunciation. And the last one says picture. Now, if you guys take a look at the vocab list that you'll get, you'll notice that it's set up just like this. On the left, you have the word in Spanish. In the middle, you have its English meaning. And on the far right, you have a phonetic pronunciation. You need to copy those into these first 4 pages of this notebook packet. Now, each of these pages has room for 7 words, and there are 4 pages, so that's a total of 28 words. If you count what's on your list, you'll see that this chapter there were only actually 24 words. So you can either leave the last 4 boxes blank, the last 4 rows blank on the last page, or you can leave 1 row blank on each page. Doesn't really matter. As long as all 24 words end up in your notebooks, you'll be fine. So after those 4 pages of vocabulary that hopefully you guys have already started working on, you have 2 pages of grammar. Those are the pages that I want to concentrate on today. So the first of the 2 grammar pages is titled at the top, El Verbo Ir. So in this first blank, right here, I want you to go ahead and write Ir. I-R. And next to it, here on the right, I want you to write the English meaning of the verb ir. It means to go. Now, a lot of you said you had already worked with this verb, so hopefully this is going to be mostly review for you guys. Should be easy. But the yo form of the verb ir is voy. This is the word that you would use to say I go or I'm going. The tu form of the verb ir is vas. So that's you go or you're going. Now this third box down can be the he form, the she form, or the you formal. So you sir, you ma'am. Anytime you're speaking to someone that you need to be extra respectful of. So the ella usted form of the verb ir is va. He's going, she goes, you sir are going. It could mean any of those things. At the top right, the nosotros form of the verb ir is vamos. That means we go, or we're going. The vosotros form of the verb is vais. That means you guys are going. But remember that vosotros is only used in Spain. And even then it's only used for a group of people who are around your same age or who you're extra close to. This is a very friendly way to say you guys. The more formal way to say you guys is ustedes. And the ellos or ustedes, the they or the other you guys form for ir is van. So this could be they go, or it could be you guys are going, either if you guys happen to be a group of, say, teachers, or if you're just not in Spain, but say in Colombia. Now, the tricky part comes when the sentence that you're looking at, it doesn't have a pronoun. What happens when it has a name, or a group of names, or a name plus a pronoun? Well, you have to do a little bit of extra thinking. So anytime you have one name, like Maria or Andres, that's the same as saying she or he. So you would use the ella form. You would say Maria va or Andres va. What about if you have a name y yo? So that's somebody and I. Alejandro y yo, Alejandro and I. That's the same as saying we. So you would use the nosotros form and you would say Alejandro y yo vamos. What if you have a name y tú? So what if I say Victoria y tú? Victoria and you. Well, that's the same as saying you guys. So if we're in Spain, we might say vosotros. But in most of the world, we would use the ustedes form. And we would say Victoria y tú van. And what if you have a couple of names? Like, what if it says Jose y Pedro? Jose and Pedro are going. That's the same as if we say they are going. So you'd use the ellos form, which is also van. Also, there's a little note down here at the bottom that's kind of important. It says just like go or going is usually followed by the word to in English. So we're going to the mall. They have to go to the office. In Spanish, the same thing happens. In Spanish, the verb ir or any of its forms generally followed by a, which means to. So this is your first page of grammar. Quick look at the verb ir. A lot of you told me you've already looked at this verb, so hopefully this is just a quick and easy review for you guys. But we are going to work with it a little bit, and we'll do some more practice activities. So if you're not all the way there yet, hopefully we'll have a chance to kind of help you get a little bit more solid. This second page of grammar deals with asking questions. So it gives you at the top this sequence. It says question word plus verb plus subject plus predicate. This is the order that we're going to put these prompts into. So the instructions say first underline each question word twice. And it's easy to find the question word because the question word always has an accent mark. So in number 1, the question word is... Oops. Before we start with number 1, there's something else I need you to do. I need you to go ahead and cross out number 4. Number 4 is just not a really good example of how to use this rule to set up a question. So go ahead and cross it out. We're not going to look at it. We're not going to practice with it. Get rid of it. So now that you've done that, we can get back to number 1. So in number 1, the question word, or the accent mark, is que, means what. In number 2, the question word is adonde. It means where, or to where, really. It's asking where somebody is going to go. In number 3, the question word, now be careful because there are 2 different words here with an accent mark. But we know that tú means you, so that's not a question. Our question word in number 3 is cuando, which means when. Remember, we're skipping number 4. Don't even look at it. In number 5, the question is con quién, with whom. And in number 6, the last one, the question word is adonde, where, again. So after you've put a double underline under each of the question words, the instructions say then circle the verb. So we know verbs are words that show action, in all but the first sentence, it's going to be a form of ir, to go. In the first sentence, which of those words shows an action? In the first sentence, the verb is come, means he or she eats. In sentence 2, the action that's going on is going. The verb is van. In number 3, once again the action is going, and the verb is vas. In number 5, the action is van. And in number 6, the action is va. So we've got half of this ready to go. We've got our question word and we've got our verb. Now we need to find our subject. Remember, the subject is the person or thing. In all these cases, it's a person who's doing the action. So who is eating or who is going in each sentence? So in number 1, the subject, the person who is eating, is Elena. So go ahead and put a box around her name. In number 2, the person doing the going is not a name, it's a pronoun, but it's you guys, ustedes. In number 3, you are going, tú is the subject of number 3. Remember, we're skipping number 4 and number 5. The people in that sentence, whoever's doing the action, whoever's going, that's Maria y Teresa. They're the subject. And number 6, the subject is Martín. He's the one who's going someplace. So now we found the question word, we found the verb, and we found the subject. Whatever is left is the predicate. A predicate is a part of a sentence that gives additional information about the verb. So in the first sentence, of course, our predicate is en el restaurante, in the restaurant. In the restaurant is telling us more about the eating that Elena is doing. In number 2, después de las clases is the predicate. It tells us more about the going. It tells us when you guys are going. In number 3, the predicate is a la playa. It tells more about going. It tells us where you're going. In number 5, al cine, once again, tells us where Maria and Teresa are going. And in number 6, con su mochila, with his backpack, tells us a little bit more about how exactly Martín is going. So the last thing that you need to do is use that QVSP, question, verb, subject, predicate, word order, to put all of this together into a grammatically correct sentence. Now be careful. Remember that in Spanish you need 2 question marks. You need an upside down question mark at the beginning of the sentence, and you need a regular question mark at the end. People ask me all the time, so why do we do that? So, have you ever had the experience when you're reading in English and you get all the way to the end of the sentence and then you realize that it was a question? Well, in Spanish we put the question mark at the beginning, so you know right away that you're asking a question. So when you're reading out loud, you can make it sound like it's a question. So in number 1, question, verb, subject, predicate, our sentence is going to say, ¿Qué come Elena en el restaurante? What is Elena eating at the restaurant? Now literally it says, what eats Elena at the restaurant? But Elena is the person who's doing the eating. So what is Elena eating at the restaurant? The word order is a little bit backwards from what we would use. In number 2, we have question, verb, subject, and predicate. So our sentence is going to read, ¿A dónde van ustedes después de las clases? Where are you guys going after your classes? It literally says, we're going, are you guys? But remember, Spanish, sometimes we flip things around. So we're going to put the verb first in Spanish, even though we would put it after the subject in English. It's okay. In number 3, our sentence would be ¿Cuándo vas tú a la playa? When are you going to the beach? Remember, we're skipping number 4. Number 5 is going to say ¿Con quién van María y Teresa al cine? With whom are Maria and Teresa going to the movies? And number 6, the last sentence. Remember, question, verb, subject, predicate. It's going to read ¿A dónde va Martín con su mochila? So where is Martín going with his backpack? So take a minute. Make sure you've had a chance to write out your 5 sentences. Not 6 because we skipped 4. And then I want to give you a quick heads up about what you can expect. So what's next? Well, tomorrow, Friday, you guys are going to have some practice activities working with the verb ir. At the end of class tomorrow, I need you to turn in your week 26 plus those Friday worksheets. I don't want your notebooks yet because you'll notice you still have more pages that we need to fill out. We'll probably work on that study guide at the very end of next week or maybe at the beginning of the following week. So you're going to hold on to those notebook packets for a minute. But your week 26 and your Friday worksheets both need to go in the trays by the door so that I can come and collect them tomorrow at the end of the day and give you guys some grades. Which brings me to my final point. Please remember, no work equals no points. That means if you turn nothing in, you're going to be looking at a very poor grade at the end of the marking period. So I need for you guys to go ahead and turn in all of this work. That's all I have for you guys today. Please make sure that your notebooks are up to date. Make sure if you haven't already finished putting the vocabulary into those first 4 pages. Remember Spanish in the first column, then English, then the phonetic pronunciation, and then you need to draw me a picture. It doesn't need to be museum quality artwork. I'm fine with stick figures, I'm fine with caveman drawings, but I need you to put something in that picture box. You should have filled out 2 pages of grammar today. You should also have finished the Tuesday and Wednesday activities in that week 26 packet. So we've worked through a lot in these last couple of days. Tomorrow you guys are going to look at some more practice with the verb ir, talking about different ways to say that people are going places. And then next week we'll do some practice with these question words and asking questions and how to set those up. And then we'll do actually maybe some reading comprehension, and I'm hoping to squeeze in some speaking practice as well. So you guys kind of have an idea of what is coming. Please remember, turn in your work on Friday, and have a good evening.